All right, boys, let's get down to this video. What's good? I'm Kaithor, and yeah, and this is my full succession mystic guide. This is the overview on what I will be covering in this video. All right. So first and foremost, let me just break it down. I'll explain why I'm making this video, this guide. Second, I will show the combo, a quick version for the people that don't want to waste time, just want to get the combo and bounce. Um, Third, how did I make this combo? Fourth, I'll explain what to lock. Fifth, I'll explain the combo, and then I'll explain the key inputs. Sixth, how to back attack and when to dodge. Not really when to dodge, uh, more like how to dodge to get behind to get the back attack. Um, and seven, what do you do if you are mid combo and your combo chain breaks? Eighth, other ways to move to the back of monsters, bosses, whatever you're fighting. Ninth, I will cover add-ons. 10, I will show you how to heal. And the last couple of things is I'll be streaming on kick.com, Kaithar01. That is me on Kick. And my guild is also recruiting. If you are a fisher, I want you, you know. I'm looking for PvEers and grinders. Lifeskillers. I have buffs. We got the mansion buff also for house buff. Um, I do land of the morning light bosses. I want to have groups going in my guild. And also I know dungeons don't make as much money as everything anymore, but I do want or I am doing the dungeons, like even though it doesn't make much money, but this is just because it's a group content. No one does group content anymore. I like doing it even though it doesn't make that much money. And yeah, new players, returning players, I'm always helping. So if you want to come through and need any help, let me know. I will be helping. Most of my guild is a lot of new players, and I'm helping them out. You can whisper me in game. Uh, this is my Discord link. I will be leaving it in the comment below. All right. Without further ado, let's get into um what is the reason behind this guide. The reason behind this guide is there are people out there making this playing Succession Mystic way harder than what it is. You see choice on Garmoth making it sound extremely complicated, like you have to play around this mechanic. That's why he doesn't like it. But if because the class just has a go-to combo that it can always use, it doesn't like the shard mechanic is there and you are using it, but you don't have to complicate it that way. And other YouTube videos I watched, there are combos and things like that that they post, but I personally don't like their combos due to the fact how they awkwardly change inputs, and you have to change, like for example, they go into like this SQ and then the hidden claw, they're SLM being to get into hidden claw instead of just going into it all at once, how they move, like things like that. Like I just don't like other people's guide. So I ended up making this. Yeah. All right. So the next thing is for the people that are just here for the quick combo. Here it is. Okay. The combo is written down right here. So the first combo chain, there's 3 combo chains, okay? 1, 2, and 3. And you just go down the first one, second one, and third one. So the first one is Shift RMB. SQ, hold it. Spacebar, Shift Q. Shift RMB, RMB, LMB, RMB, WRMB. Shift RMB, hold LMB, LMB, RMB. Bang. That's the whole combo. I'll do it one more time. Shift RMB, SQ, hold it. Spacebar, Shift Q. Shift RMB, RMB, LMB, RMB, WRMB. Shift RMB, LMB, LMB, RMB, and rinse and repeat. All right. So now let's get into how I built this combo. Now, I asked this player, I was in filter for about like 2 to 3 days, and I asked this player called Kurumi, very well known Succession Mystic player. I haven't known anybody who plays Succession Mystic more than him, so he's the one who I asked a bunch of questions to. I asked him a bunch of questions. He probably thought I was retarded for asking him all of these questions. But by the end of me asking all the questions, I came up with this combo. TLDR, what did I ask him? I asked him, how do you pre-buff on this class? What are all of the buffs on this class? He told me it's the somersault. Somersault gives you 24 AP. Then if you then hidden claw is your minus DP debuff. So somersault into hidden claw. This gives you plus AP, minus DP. Then the next thing is your attack speed buff, which comes from having 3 martial shards and pressing your spacebar, which is crouching wolf. So spacebar, bang, that's your 20% attack speed buff. So all of your buffs are somersault, hidden claw, spacebar. Boom. You have one more hidden buff, which comes from your Shift RMB. As you can see, it gives you movement speed and 10% crit rate. There we go. There's all of the buffs that you can get on this class, and the debuffs, that's your whole entire thing. The next thing I asked him is, what are the spenders of this class? Because this class revolves around expunging your shards. He told me it's your Shift Q, it's your Wave Orb, and your Roaring Tiger. And you want to use each of them after building up your martial shards every single time. Okay. So first we learned from the first questions what the buffs and debuffs are, how to and then your expunge combos. Now clearly you cannot do the first chain over and over due to the fact that it has a 8-second cooldown, so you have to figure out other ways to add it. To generate martial shards. So the next thing I asked him, how do you generate martial shards? And he told me the somersault chain is one way. RMB, which is your hurricane kick, is the next way. And the third one is your flows of your Shift RMB, which is holding down LMB. There's one more way to build martial shards, which is holding F and going into your kicks. So it's F, W, F, that right there. So let me expunge and then I'll show you. There you go. That gives you 3 martial shards. That's the 4th way of getting your martial shards. Now, due to the fact that scissor kick cooldown is quite low, and also your kick cooldown is quite low, soul basher cooldown is quite low, I asked him why you don't just use soul bash over and over, soul bash over and over to generate, and he said if you did, then you will not get the AP up from somersault because you're not using somersault, and hidden claw, which is minus DP down, you're not getting the benefit of that. So that's one reason why you don't just spam that. You also don't get the 10% crit from using your shift RMB. You Another thing is using Soul Bash. As you can see, the AoE does not really hit things. Meanwhile, if you do shift RMB, there you go. Your AoE becomes more. So you have more AoE, more damage from shift RMB to that's why you use shift RMB. What about RMB? RMB has smaller AoE than shift RMB, but it generates 2 shards, which is also another reason why you want to use it, and higher damage. And the same thing with your shift RMB chain. All of these skills that you are doing for filler are higher damage than the kick combos. That's why you do these. All right, now and so that's what I basically took away from that, and that's why the combo is what it is, and this is what I'm showing. All right, now what do you lock? All right, to lock, I basically lock everything that's not the combo. Okay, so triple flying kick, adamantine, Inca hook, martial diva, and then these are basically kind of just locked because martial diva's locked and you cannot get into them. But you can go like lock these if you want to. Then the next thing I have locked is hidden claw, death strike, and savage fang. I don't use it. I don't have this I don't have fist fury locked. I have everything in the twisted collision locked because if you hold RMB after one of the skill chains, you will go into all of this and it can get you killed. Even though they are super armor, they don't do much damage. So I have them locked. Okay. And that's about everything I have locked on this class. All right, next up, let's go into the combo explanation. Earlier, I mentioned why the combo is what it is, but let's get into it. All right. So the reason why you do shift RMB before everything is due to the fact that if you just spam SQ, spacebar, shift Q, RMB, LMB, RMB, WRMB, as you can see right here, not using your shift RMB, does not give you full martial shards for the second combo. The third combo, you cannot literally get into the third combo without using shift RMB, which because it's the flow of shift RMB. So that's why you just basically want to use shift RMB before everything. You can just use shift RMB for the bottom two, but I generally prefer, because it makes it a lot easier for me, to do shift RMB before everything, all three of the combo lines. You do not have to do it before the first line. Only the second and the third are necessary, because that's how you generate shards to use your expunge for your second skill, which is wave orb, and your third skill, which is your roaring tiger. Another thing is with wave orb is midway through the combo. Let's say you want to use wave orb, you press RMB and then you dodged. How do you get into wave orb? If you use LMB RMB, it will put you into roaring tiger. But you don't want to use roaring tiger after a side dash or a dash or whatever. So how do you get into wave orb? The simple thing is you can just do you can just evasion roll into LMB RMB and then WRMB. But another way is WCSC or SCWC. Excuse me, we gotta wait for the cooldown. So let's say like you evasion rolled SCWC. That's another way to get into it. All right, so that's the explanation for the key inputs. Actually, one more thing. Let me explain everything first of all. So the key combos for everything is shift RMB for Thunder Pound. SQ, holding down SQ will net you somersault, the flow of somersault, and also hidden claw. These three skills are all used by holding down SQ. Spacebar will take you into crouching tiger or whatever it's called. Crouching wolf, excuse me, crouching wolf, which is your attack speed buff, and then shift Q is rage hammer. Yeah, rage hammer. And then R&B is hurricane kick for your second combo. So it's shift R&B, then R&B, and then LMB R&B right here is wave orb, and then W R&B is sea burial. Yep, sea burial. And then you go into shift R&B, and then LMB, LMB, and LMB. So it's, what is this skill called again? Yeah, Thunder Pound, Death Clout, Splinter Thud, and Bolster Thump. Those are the three skills. And then you go into Roaring Tiger. All right. Now, let's talk about how to back attack and how to reposition for back attack, basically. All right. So let's say you are doing a combo, right? And then the monster was facing away from you. Now it's facing towards you. What would I do to reposition? I just use my bind, which is WW on my mouse button, my side mouse button, which is mouse button 1. Excuse me, mouse button 2. And it will position me behind the mob. If this was the mob right here, and if I did WW, I would be behind him, right? So just like this, and then I can back attack him. All right. And let me explain why I use evasion instead of my other ways of mobility. The other ways to get behind the mobs, I'll explain later, but I use WW because it's literally the perfect range to get behind something and start DPSing. All right. So this is why I use evasion roll. Evasion roll I have on my settings, hotkey, UI hotkey, or excuse me, action hotkey, evasion roll, WW. All right. Now, get some water first, and then I'll explain other ways to position behind him, behind the mobs. All right, I explained why I use WW, which is evasion roll, to get behind mobs, because if you look at the range, this is almost perfect for any pack that I'm fighting to get behind. This is enough range for me to get behind almost every pack, if not near their back. That it allows me to R&B like this, like even if the mob is bigger than this and I evasion roll through them, this will put me in a position when I start hitting to hit their back attack, even if I'm like midway through the mob, if they're big enough. But typically it literally puts me behind them. Maybe I have to use it twice, but that's that. The other ways to get behind a mob is shift W. If you can see how long this range is, there's no mob in the game that's this big that you need this much room to get behind them. That's why I choose to use evasion roll to get behind mobs rather than shift W dash. Now, in terms of shift W dash, how many evasion rolls is that? It's like 1, 2, almost 3. It's 2.5 about. I don't need that much distance in most of the case, so I don't use shift W most of the time, but sometimes I do use it. Then another way to back attack, which some mystics use, I don't recommend, is this right here. They go into mass destruction, into hidden claw, which looks something like this. Now, this requires 2 key inputs to do, and it requires you to turn your camera around like that, which is kind of annoying. That's why I don't use this method to get behind monsters, and I just use evasion roll through the mob, because I'm facing them, they're facing me. I just roll through them, and yep, those are so those are the 2 ways. Now, let's say you evasion rolled and you had to evasion roll at a time that was not good, like midway through your combo. What do you do? All right. Well, what do you do if you had to midway through your combo evasion roll? All right, let me explain. If you had to evasion roll and have 3 martial shards, you evasion roll into roaring tiger, or what's this called, or wave orb. You evasion roll into one of these 2. Let's say both of them are on cooldown, then you use the other one. You use one of the 3, okay? But the times that you do want to evade, or the time that you do want to reposition, goes something like this. All right. So after you shift RMB, you can evasion roll. If you are doing the first 2 chain lines, right? If you're doing the 3rd chain line, you just go through the whole entire thing and evasion roll right before you do your roaring tiger. And just accept the fact that the monster turn around, and you're just going to do the frontal damage from the flow of shift RMB. Okay, that's for the 3rd chain. The only time you can evasion roll or to reposition is right before you do roaring tiger. That's for the 3rd one. For the 2nd one, on the other hand, you can reposition before shift RMB, after shift RMB. After you press RMB, you have to complete the whole entire chain line. Okay. You can just stop comboing and reposition after wave orb, but then I wouldn't recommend to go into sea burial. I would just say ignore using sea burial and go into your next combo chain. All right. Now, how do you reposition during your first combo chain? Before and after shift RMB. Okay. Now, after you press SQ, I do not recommend you, or you cannot reposition until after you're done with your hidden claw. Now, hidden claw has 3 hits. You can cancel hidden claw as soon as you have martial shards and you've tagged the monsters with minus DP buff. As you can see, hidden claw looks something like this. So first, small hits, punch 1 and punch 2. Watch this again. Small hits, punch 1, punch 2. Small hits, 1, 2. Small, 1, 2. Right? So you can stop hidden claw at any time after the first hit if you have 3 martial shards. So you can SQ, as you can see right here, the first hit, you can just stop and then reposition after, as soon as you cancel. All right, so you can reposition before your crouching wolf, after your crouching wolf, So you're crouching wolf, you reposition after it, and you get behind the mob. And then you use shift Q. And those are the times to reposition and follow along with the chain of combo that you want to. Now, worst comes to worst, and let's say you brain for it and you don't know what to do, because the shift RMB and LMB chain is so low cooldown that what you can do is you just go shift RMB, hold LMB, LMB RMB, shift RMB, go into LMB, shift Q. Like, you can't just go shift RMB, LMB into any of the expunge skills. Worst comes to worst, that's how you wait out the cooldowns of the first 3 skills from chain 1, and your RMB hurricane kick, you can wait it out. If all of those skills are on cooldown, you just use this chain over and over to build shards and expunge that way while you're waiting for the other skills to come off cooldown. Now, I have covered the other ways of back attacking, so I'm not going to cover that earlier. All right, let's get to the add-ons. Now, these add-ons are not perfect, but they are what works for me. What do I mean about that? Well, there are 6 skills in your skill add-on, and there are only certain amount of add-ons that you really require. What are the add-ons that you really need? Minus damage reduction on mobs is 1. Back attack, crit hit damage, these are 2, so that's 3. Crit hit rate, attack speed, which is 5, right? These are the 5 most important things that you need on your character. And as you can see, you have 12 slots, because 6 skills times 2, you have 12 slots. Some of the add-ons are redundant, okay, here, and you get to choose where you want each skill. The way I took my skill add-ons is all of my add-ons that are necessary are on the first key skill, which is SQ somersault, shift RMB, spacebar, or not spacebar, excuse me, a hidden claw, and my shift Q. That's where I get all of my add-ons from, and that's why that's my chain number 1 to go to. But what you can do is you can change up these add-ons to your liking for the grind spot that you need to. If you are working on a down attack spot, you can add down attack and so on and so forth. That's the add-ons. Now, let's talk about how to heal. Okay. Well, let's get on with how to heal. Because my Thunder Pound right here has instant recovery, instantly recovered 35 HP per target. Let's say you're hitting 10 mobs, right? And you're using somersault. Oh, not the somersault, Thunder Pound. 10 mobs times 9 hits. So that's 90 times 35 is what I'm healing from just Thunder Pound alone. But because those add-ons also count for Death Clout, Splinter Third, and Bolster Thumb, all of these, it's 2, 4, 6. 6 times 10 monsters, and 2 hits each, which is times 2. So 6 times 10 times 2 is the amount of healing that I will get from just these 3 skills. And Thunder Pound is 9 times 10 times 35 is the amount of healing that I get from Thunder Pound. So just by having that add-on, you get benefit off of all of these skills. And that's why I have my healing add-on on my Thunder Pound. And so what you do to heal. All right, this is what you do to heal. You shift RMB, LMB, LMB, RMB. Shift RMB, LMB, shift Q. You just basically what you want to do is you just want to use the bottom chain over and over until you're healed to a good amount of level, and ignore the fact that you're missing out on the add-ons from the other things. Just ignore that. So you just use the bottom chain over and over with, at the end you just expunge with shift Q or LMB RMB, which is roaring, or WCSC. Or SCWC. You just do that over and over until you're healed to a position that you're comfortable with. That's how you heal, and that's everything in the guide. All right, let me finish up with the closer. You can find me on kick.com/Kythar01. And if you are interested in joining my guild, feel free to join the Discord, whisper me in game. And I kind of want players in my guild to do in-house AOS. And the reason why I want in-house AOS is other forms of PvP, in my opinion, is just completely dead and kind of hopeless. And the reason why I want in-house AOSers is because I want the community to like teach other people why you want to position the way you want to position, how to move, how to play around XYZ class, so on and so forth. I want people to help out other people and teach other people how to fight people. Yeah, that's basically why I want to run in-house AOSs. I want to kind of run 1 hour of in-house AOS every single day, just in the hopes of my guild improving. So if you are interested, let me know. And also Fishers, PvEers, Lifeskillers, if you're also interested, let me know. We do have the mansion buff. We do have the guild buff. Yeah. I'll catch y'all next time.